our discussion on industrialization. Specifically, we're going to be talking about big business and how certain industrial titans had an effect on after Reconstruction in America. But first, we're going to have a short group discussion. So everybody get in small groups of 2 or 3 people. And when you hear the word industrialization or Reconstruction, what does that bring up in your mind? Like, first of all, what do you immediately think of? And then we'll come back and talk about it.
Trees, cars,
What are the words?
machines.
Industrialization and
Building, construction, industrializing.
Yeah, like Philadelphia.
Reconstruction is something that pops into my mind is after the Civil War, when the South needed to be reconstructed because it was destroyed.
All right, guys. What did we come up with? Anybody want to read and go?
What the first thing that popped into my mind was when America had the Civil War, and after we needed to reconstruct the South because it was all destroyed.
Yeah, the South had been completely destroyed by bombing and famine and burning, especially in Sherman's March to see Atlanta was completely destroyed. So they had a lot of stuff that needed to happen. Reconstruction did that. Industrialization. Does anybody know how that ties into Reconstruction? Industry. Any ideas?
Industry is like making stuff, and it kind of relates to the economy. So maybe people got jobs and they manufactured things to kind of rebuild their economy.
Back then, there wasn't such a strong centralized government as we have now, and unfortunately, certain individuals took it upon themselves to really start Reconstruction. So we're going to be learning about 5 of these individuals and how they impacted the modern U.S. And then you guys will be able to decide throughout the class whether you think they are either a titan of industry, they affected it for the good of the people, or that they robbed people of their livelihood. Alright, so we're going to talk about big business first. So before Reconstruction and Industrial Revolution, American business was run by families. This was family-run businesses, one person, dad who owns a drugstore, and his whole family works there. That was pretty much it. However, Reconstruction began to have the big tycoons, like your Rockefellers and your Vanderbilts. They really began Reconstruction and made real big corporations. This also started with monopolies, which was when one individual owned the entire market. Cartels were also involved. This was specifically when a bunch of people got together to say that I was in the farming industry and I got together with one of my friends, Mr. Bowman, and we decided to curb our production. That way we can set higher prices. So supply and demand, if we give less supply, there will be more demand for it. We have a short video clip that will explain a little bit more about the people that we'll be learning about. Mr. Bowman's thinking about that. Does anybody know any of the other industrial titans that we were talking about? Like I mentioned 1 or 2 of them. Would anybody know, or maybe an inventor during industrialization?
Vanderbilt.
Yeah, Vanderbilt had a certain industry that he ran by. Would anybody know that?
Steel?
It had to do with steel.
Railroads.
Sorry, are we supposed to be taking notes right now?
These notes are on you. It's mostly just for your input. There will be a quiz that is taken on.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, Vanderbilt was dealing mainly in railroads. Steel was another one of the industrial titans. Does anybody know who that would be?
Rockefeller?
Rockefeller created a company called Standard Oil, and he was in charge of the oil industry during this time. It was the late 1800s, early 1900s. Nobody knows what the steel industry was.
Is it Carnegie?
Yeah.
Andrew Carnegie?
Andrew Carnegie was the steel magnate of the late 1800s, and we have a short video clip that talks about more. So that gave a brief overview and a little look at some of the men that we're going to be talking about. There were more than we listed, but we're talking about the top five, you know, like I said, the entrepreneurial rock stars of their generation, the actual one who shaped what America would be in the coming years. The first one that we're going to be talking about is Cornelius Vanderbilt. It's actually interesting because most of the entrepreneurial rock stars come from humble beginnings. Vanderbilt was one of them. He made his living off of shipping and was known for his ruthless tactics. In his early years, he would beat the competition literally. There was one instance where he didn't get what he wanted in a deal and he beat the man to an inch of his life. So he is very cutthroat, ruthless. Later in his life, he would have mercenaries do his work for him, but he came to be known as Commodore because of his shipping industry. However, he saw how the world was changing and shifting, and he sold everything to invest in the railroads. This was a huge gamble because it could not have paid off, but fortunately for Vanderbilt, it did pay off, and he was the richest man in the world at the time with over $100 million at the age of his death. The second that we're going to be talking about is Andrew Carnegie. He was also born to a poor family. He was an immigrant, and he started working under a little-known railroad industry titan. However, he branched out and started seeing how steel could be the future. And he started constructing with steel and making that his real passion. He was very wealthy as well. However, he did make a few mistakes in his time, which biggest one would be the Pinkerton riots at one of his steel mills. He had a man named Henry Frick, who was his second in command, and he was taken and decided that a riot that they were having at one of his steel mills could only be solved by the end of the muzzle. So they fired upon him. Yes, John.
I have two questions.
Go for it.
One, how did he get to America from Scotland? And then two, are either you guys single?
To answer your first question, at the time of the 1800s, there was massive immigration and urbanization, so most people were coming in from other countries and establishing themselves in the cities. And as your second question, we can talk about that after class. Anyways,
We will not discuss that in class.
let's bring it all back about the Pinkerton riots. Henry Frick decided that the only way to solve it was firing upon individuals, and he did this, and it resulted in over 20 individuals dead, and it made Carnegie look like a ruthless business tycoon, which in reality was Henry Frick. But Carnegie felt that to his core and would later sell his company to J.P. Morgan for $480 million, making him the richest man in America, which was no small feat. But at the time that happened, he started investing in more philanthropic and trying to give back to the community. Carnegie Hall is one of his most famous achievements, but he also gave to substantial libraries and other such things during this time. He also penned an essay called The Gospel of Wealth, which he believed that those who had the money should give the money back to those who were less fortunate and did not have it. So he made some bad moves, but at the same time, he did believe in giving back to the community and trying to help other people.
All right, guys, so that brings us to a guy named John Rockefeller. Some of you guys may have heard of him before. I know I hadn't until recently, but he was one of the biggest oil guys at the time. He owned a company called Standard Oil, which owned about 90% of the country's oil supply. This guy was one of the richest guys in America. One of the big things that people try and look at with how he was controversial was he was accused of predatory pricing and also colluding with other railroads to gain a monopoly to eliminate the competition. Excuse me? Forgot that you guys...
Saying I'm in love with the gay guy. That's not fair.
Sure.
Wow, Don's nice.
Okay, that's calm down. What's your name again?
Aubrey.
Aubrey. All right, can you move over to that last desk on the end?
Why?
Please. Thank you. And by the way, guys, that is his picture. He's got some nice facial hair. Alright, so that brings us to another guy called J.P. Morgan. This guy was one of the greatest bankers in America at the time. He financed railroads and helped run steel businesses. He was one of the reasons for creating General Electric, which was a big company back at the time. And also, he was one of the biggest reasons why the Panic of 1907 was stopped. He bought Carnegie Steel, and he was also accused of having too much power and manipulating the nation's financial system to benefit himself. Yes, question.
What was the Panic of 1907?
Panic of 1907.
The Panic of 1907 was a crash that happened. It would have been the Great Depression before the Great Depression, but fortunately, J.P. Morgan, with his infinite wealth, sort of told the government, like, hey, you know, we can work something out. You know, I can give you some money if you do some favors for me. He would eventually use that to his advantage to elect William McKinley over William James Bryant, who wanted to dissolve trusts and big business. So he was probably the most powerful man in America, not the richest, which was Rockefeller, but he had the most influential power over the government, thanks to the Panic of 1907.
Did you stop the second Great Depression, like the actual Great Depression that happened?
No, because after McKinley's assassination, they had his vice president, which was Teddy Roosevelt. He was anti-big business, antitrust, and he went after men like J.P. Morgan, Rockefeller, and all of them, dismantling everything that they had. So, unfortunately, no, because Morgan did not have as much power as he did in the 1800s and 1900s.
So it kind of backfired on him because the
You have to
VP
keep
was.
asking so many questions. You're never going to get
Hey, we're still learning about it. Everyone's fine. I'm gonna ask you this. Yes. Of course. We'll get any ideas here. All right. Is everyone ready to go on? Okay. All right. So that brings us to one of the final guys we're going to talk about today. His name is Henry Ford, and he was known for a process called the assembly line. So we're going to do a quick activity. I need 5 volunteers. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more. 5. All right. So I'm going to ask 4 of you guys to sit in this line, this row. So. Okay. And who's the other person? All right. You can sit right there. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to simulate what an assembly line did and why it was so effective. So these 4 people in this. Hold on a second, guys. Alex, would you mind explaining the lesson for me, please?
Yes. All right, so for you guys, on the left, you are just going to take part in building a paper airplane to epitomize what is going to be done. So the first one of you, who's going to get the paper, you're going to fold the corners. The second one, you're going to have paper, so you're going to fold it in half. Second one of you is going to fold the corners. Third one of you is going to then fold it together, make it all together. And the fourth one of you is going to like finish it off, like draw that thin line that makes paper airplane perfect. You know? So you each have one step, and then John, you're going to make them all by yourself.
What?
So this is gonna epitomize the assembly line process. So each one of you will have a step, whereas John knows the whole thing, but each one of you has one step to do. And we're gonna see who can finish first, making a total of 6.
10.
10. 10?
Yep. You guys will go when we say start.
Is there a
Wait, so I
reward?
just fold it in half,
Can
right?
you do an
Like that?
paper?
Yes.
I will do it.
I can do
Check the quality.
You're out.
it. Yeah. Okay. Example.
So I throw it like that.
Ready?
But you fold it like that.
You fold in half, right?
Yeah. So that's my job.
Yep. Your job?
My job is to fold.
Fold the corners.
Yeah.
Like so. You go like this. And then you go like that. Give that nice little crease. Boom. It's bad being quick airplane. Not yet.
Oh, not yet. Not right.
I don't think I know how to make
Alright,
And you pull the corners again. So you fold it half like that originally. Pull that. Fold it half again. Like so. And then you can fold it one more time.
All
I
right.
like it when you show me.
You guys ready to start?
Yep.
All right. And once you do your one section, you start on the very next one.
Okay.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm You don't do the wings.
Oh, I just closed it up. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Hey John, how's it going?
I'm winning.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Is your dating game as good as your paper airplane game?
Nothing's as good as my dating game.
I didn't do anything wrong.
Wait, this is good.
This is good, yeah.
I'm gonna
This is nice.
Anything over there, John?
I think I'm at 9.
All right.
keep going.
We will see. Once you guys are done, just raise your hands. All right. That's 10. And how many did you get done?
Not even close, John.
1, 2, 3, 4. So that's a great, even better. That's a great example of how much quicker the assembly line was compared to just regular production beforehand, which was just singular. So one of the biggest things Henry Ford was known for was the Model T. It was the first car, and that really helped America turn into more of a transportation-based country. And also, one of the things he was known for, he was actually one of the better bankers, or just guys. He actually raised people's rates to $5 a day working. So that's about an 8-hour day. They're making $5. But beforehand, it was only 2.5 for 9-hour days. So he was considered at the time a lot more generous than other people. And that set the standard for what industry was to come. You have a question?
Yeah, what does that do to the workers? Because none of us has to know how to make an entire paper airplane. So
Yeah.
I'm not like a craftsman anymore. I'm just like doing like one thing.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that get like really boring?
it would. That was one of the issues at the time. But that's just what people did to make money. So
They
it's a
were
lot different than what it is today.
Yeah, and they were a lot happier doing it because one, they made a lot more, and Henry Ford treated them like individuals and actual people, whereas like Carnegie and Rockefeller actually treated them like just numbers on their spreadsheet of how many people they employed. So he was actually a good guy. Fordism tried to make good quality items with high pay for the workers and high satisfaction, and people loved to work for Henry Ford because he gave them a lot of money and they knew what their job was. They knew they had one step, they did it, and they so it was pretty revolutionary at the time.
All right, guys. So now we're gonna play a game we like to call Jeopardy. So I'm gonna split you guys up into 3 teams of 5. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You guys are a team. Hold on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on a second. We're going to do teams of 4, guys. All right, so you 4 right here, you 2, and then these 2 right here, and then you 4 back here. Okay, so if you guys want to move up here.
14.
John, stop trying to pass it
I'll read it after.
Thumbs.
Alright, so you have to choose what edible substance, we'll say that like that you get to be. For each team.
All right, so I'll give you guys first choice. Here's one.
So,
Lemon.
come up with which one you want, and then we'll try to figure it out.
Lemon, strawberry, watermelon, banana. Lemon, yes.
You guys,
Lemon.
lemon? Okay. Paul?
We're not 11?
Banana.
Meredith? Banana? Banana. Alright. And what is it you guys want to be? Strawberry? Alright.
All right, so we're just gonna review what we've talked about today, guys. So we'll let the lemons go first. So you guys are lemons, right? Okay. So which category would you guys like?
There's Rockefeller, Carnegie, Vanderbilt, Morgan, and Ford.
Vanderbilt for 500.
Vanderbilt for 500.
500 for Vanderbilt.
Set yourself up for failure.
This was referenced once, I believe.
What's that word?
Philanthropic.
What does that mean?
It means something like he gave something to somebody. It could have been an educational thing.
You guys got 5 seconds.
You made the university.
Yes. Vanderbilt University is what he.
Wow.
Oh,
Yes.
Nice.
Oh my
Sorry, guys. Alright, so we're gonna go to bananas. Go to bananas.
We are the bananas.
Alright.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh.
But that's okay. We'll do it.
Rose,
Violation. There's 5.
I don't think that's. I don't think that's.
No, it's not that.
Oh, sure.
We breezed over this section, but it is.
Antitrust.
Oh.
Antitrust.
Alright, guys.
Is that the answer?
That is the answer.
Oh.
Okay, so we're gonna go to the strawberries.
Word.
4 for 3.
4 for 3.
the assembly line and the way he treated the people.
I think that's good.
All of it.
So how he treated his workers and then the quality
Assembly
was.
line. And he raised their salary.
Yep.
Alright. So after the first rounds, we have the lemons on top. 500, 300 to 0.
What?
Okay,
Yeah.
on to the next one.
Maybe I continue.
Okay, bananas, or lemons, what would you guys like this round?
Strawberries got 300. Vanderbilt for 400.
Yeah, go big or go home.
That's what I was saying.
It's a nice even number.
That's not in the notes. That's not in the notes.
No, but I did reference it. It was on the PowerPoint.
Oh. 100 million.
Okay, the lemons are taking
Bring
a
them, why aren't
lead.
you on our team?
We're gonna get on the board.
Okay, what do you want?
Carnegie.
100.
Yeah.
Carnegie for 100.
Look at that.
It's a marathon.
Carnegie for 300.
We're doing, yes.
1 or 3.
Okay.
Great.
Great.
$500. 80.
Yep.
Alright,
Nice, dude.
we're on the board.
All right. What do you guys?
Morgan for 300. General Electric. Oh yeah. There you go.
All right, back to
Hey guys.
Vanderbilt for 300.
Vanderbilt experts.
Yeah, really.
Jeez, come on.
Is that a further word?
No, it pre-spaces everything.
So yeah, railroad. Why do I answer?
It was shipping. was substantial, but it was not the biggest accomplishment.
So that gives the bananas a chance.
Yeah,
Big round.
Wait, does that knock them down to 600?
This was low.
Not in this game, Jeff.
Should we do Rockefeller for 200?
Yeah, like,
How much money did that one die?
This was on the PowerPoint.
Oh, 1.5 billion?
whoa.
Dang.
Very
What?
rich
I think it was
person.
a long
Are you kidding
Are
me?
you sure that was on the PowerPoint?
Yes.
340 billion?
Are you positive?
Yeah. $340 billion. He controlled 90% of the total oil industry. And if you think about Ford coming around and making the Model T more affordable for all individuals, all right.
Strawberries.
Ford for 200? I like that.
Yeah.
Do you want to make it like affordable for everyone? Do you want to make it like affordable for the common man? And faster?
Nice.
Right. That was 200, right?
Yep, let's do 100.
I'll call it a comeback.
And wasn't the original Ford also $200? Like, could you get it for 200?
I believe that is correct, yes.
Ooh.
It was,
Extra
and
We
that
get
was
extra
more
points for
affordable
that.
than,
So that was 200 and it was 200.
Yeah.
Do you know what that would be like today? Like $200 car back then?
I actually checked that on it. I think it was only like, I think it was 15 or 16,000. So like back then, most of the luxury vehicles have been over 4 or 5, like 40 or 50,000, which was only able to be taken by like luxury people. So like only like the rich, like Carnegie and Rockefeller, could afford to live in luxury like that. But with
If you guys remember what we said about the Ford, like daily wage, they're only making $5 a day. So it's gotta accumulate over time. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna do one more round, guys. So the lemons.
this was not on PowerPoint, but I did mention it. in class. But what does
Oh, but what
phrase
does the phrase mean? So,
It was Carnegie, and he did come up with the phrase, but what did the phrase mean?
5 seconds.
You were a book, and that's the book's name. And if you make a lot of money, you thought that you should give it back.
Yes. Wow.
Are you kidding?
Did they just make that up or did you guys
Sounded like guesses.
No, his gospel wanted to give back. Those who had more money had to give back, which is why he gave away 80% of his total fortune, which was more than Rockefeller had, but he gave it all away, which made Rockefeller the most wealthy man.
Bananas, you want good consolation?
This was on the PowerPoint slide. I did mention it once.
Thank you.
It's something to do with his shipping.
Commodore.
His nickname was Commodore Vanderbilt.
All right. Respectable 500. And strawberries, last one.
200 more.
Morgan for 2.
Ooh, I was like 460. Or something. Yeah, I think it's 460 or 480. Sure.
Which one is it, 460 or 480?
Can we
You
go
want to go
middle?
with 460?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Just flip it.
470.
We're at $80 million.
That was close. Can we get like
All right, so the lemons, you guys take this one. Nice job, guys.
Yes.
So, thank you, guys. It was nice having you in class. Have a good rest of the day.
I feel like I was actually
All right, so,